And now, the Rise Above Show, presented by Roofing.com and hosted by Diego Dante.
Welcome to the Rise Above Show, presented by Roofing.com. My name is Diego Dante. With us today, we have Mr. Dylan Mullins of American Metal Roofing. Dylan is a good friend of mine, and you guys might recognize him from some of his viral TikTok videos. He's been able to put together a following of, over 200,000 followers on TikTok. So he's been growing that audience, and while he's been doing that, he's also been building up American Metal Roofing, and he's been able to set it up within the period of about 5 months to where the company really can run without him if he's not there, which is something that a lot of business owners want to get to that point. We get a lot of people that, we invite them to come to our events and they say, I would love to come, but we have this project and this and this and that. And Dylan set it up within 5 months to where the company runs without him if he's not there. He took a trip where he went, to Orlando, he went to Utah with us, he went to Nashville, he came down to Greenville, and the whole time the company is running without him. And again, it's because he set it up, within 5 months to be able to run without him. And we talked about exactly how he was able to do that. So I'm excited for you guys to listen to this podcast. And while you're at it, we'd love to invite you to join our Facebook community. We have over 23,000 members at the moment. It's called the Roofing and Solar Community. So if you're not a part of it, I invite you to join us there on Facebook in our group, the Roofing and Solar Community. With that, let's get on to the show. This is the Rise Above Show. And we're live on the Rise Above Show, presented by Roofing.com. I am your host, Diego Dante, and with us today we have my good friend, Dylan Mullins. How you doing, brother?
What's up, brother?
I know you're in town here for a few days, and you were here for an event. Event fell through, so I hit you up and wanted to see if you could come on the podcast. And so here we are in Greenville, South Carolina, shooting next episode of the Rise Above Show. So I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, man, excited to be here. The funny thing, Bob said that John Maxwell spoke over 13,000 times. He's canceled 10. I'm glad we're number 10 here in John's career. But no, excited to be here with you guys. I mean, that's a big reason why we came down. So we're excited to be here, man.
Yeah, man. So let's get to know you a little better. I know we're buddies, but I don't if people don't know Dylan Mullins, I want them to get the chance. They probably see your videos on TikTok and on Instagram, but I wanted to get to know you a little better and your company and what do you do in the industry. So who is Dylan Mullins?
Yeah, I'm just a little farm boy from old Mansfield, Ohio. We've been in the roofing business most of my life, actually. My dad was a subcontractor prior to getting into the business. I now own American Metal Roofing with my dad and my brother. Very blessed to have them back at home. I'm able to come down here and do what I'm doing with my business, still being able to run at home without having to worry because of them. So I'm super thankful for that. Just got engaged actually last week.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. I don't know how she likes me that much, but we'll see how that goes, and super excited. We finally picked out a date for the wedding, so that's right, a lot of fun. But super excited to be on here and to be able to talk to you as you go through this journey as well.
Yeah, man. So American Metal Roofing, you kind of hit up on it a little bit. You started that with your brother and your dad. What was the, go through a little bit of the story of, starting that up and how you've gotten it to what it is today.
Yeah, man. So actually it started, I was in college getting my teaching degree. I was delivering pizzas, actually, and I'm like, man, there's a way to make better money knowing the trades like I do. So I ended up going in the summer of 2018 and started roofing again. I just pull guys who were off the clock at Pizza Hut, and we just started slinging roofs again. My brother got out of the Navy in October of that year, and we pretty much said, hey, we're going to go in this partnership together. We started that. Then COVID hit in 2020, and my dad jumped on. We were still going pretty slow at the beginning or through 2020. We were doing a lot of the installs ourselves. And then at the beginning of this year, we got into Revolt and started to learn about scalability and how to actually scale a business. Once we were able to do that, then we finally were able to actually have a business that's not just us doing the installs and the selling and everything ourselves. And that's truly when the freedom came as far as that goes. We've had our struggles along the way, but overall, we knew metal was where we wanted to be at. We liked the longevity of it. But the other thing too is the money's a little bit better in metal, not gonna lie. So we also like that aspect of it as well. But working with my dad and my brother, that presents a whole another set of challenges that a lot of guys don't have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah. And you used to be a wrestling coach, is that right? Also,
I was. So I actually coached for 9 years. Wrestling was part of my life for the better part of probably 15 or 16 years. I just gave it up. This is my first season not coaching.
Dang, man.
Yeah, but all the guys at the retreats always want to grab me and wrestle, knowing that, Abner's probably the worst. So he's got some strength, man. He grabbed a hold of me at one of the retreats, and I'm like, whew, I'm a little bit out of my league almost. I'm a little bit far from it. But yeah, probably one of my favorite parts of my life, and took a lot of those aspects and learned how to become a leader from that. So I'm pretty blessed to be a wrestling coach.
Yeah. So, and then I know another thing that, we alluded to this a little earlier, but something that you've really, been really big on has been TikTok and social media. So tell me how that came about, where you're at with that.
Yeah, so TikTok's one of those things that I never really set out to be big on. And I think that's where a lot of guys fail at. I've talked about this a lot, but it was just one of those things where I found a niche. And mine was during coronavirus. Our governor, his name is Mike DeWine, and I coined the term Daddy DeWine, so I became the Daddy DeWine guy. And at the height of the coronavirus, literally people would be coming to me for the news on what was going on with the governor, and that just gained a ton of momentum. And then from there, I had a couple videos go pretty viral, just comedy stuff that I thought was funny, stuff that I enjoyed. And now it's pretty much mellowed off. I mean, I still post probably 7 times a week. I mean, at my height, I was posting I was posting a lot more than that. I was posting about 50 times a week, 6 times a day was my goal. And that was how I grew my audience. Now it's just a lot of residuals as far as that goes. And, a lot of guys ask me, how does it translate into the roofing business? And I tell folks all the time, don't make roofing content. Make content that people want to actually watch, and the roofing stuff will come, because then you can solidify yourself as the roofing guy in other ways. Mine was just as simple as wearing, American Metal Roofing t-shirt or hat or whatever it was, and then they knew me as the roofing guy, and that slowly got us business from that. So as far as TikTok goes, I probably will get a little bit more into it now that we're in the winter months, as far as just, downtime and being a little bit more lazy with things. But in the height of the season, it's hard to continue to post.
I've gone through some of your videos, and I think the interesting thing is it seems like the videos that get the most amount of views are, I don't want to say less thought out, but I feel like the ones that seem more just organic, hey, I think this is funny, and you post something up really quick, maybe reacting to something like that, seem to get the most views on your channel. I mean, I don't know if that's the trend you're seeing, but
100%, man. My golden rule for TikTok, and this is for anybody that's wanting to do TikTok out there, is if it takes you more than 5 minutes to make, it's probably not worth your time, because TikTok is so simple with what goes viral. You're going to be really disappointed when you take more than 5 minutes, because all the videos I've taken more than 5 minutes, put a ton of thought into, like you said, and I made some videos, like for my grandfather, and I've made some videos about Tori and stuff, and those have done okay, but the ones that really go viral are literally just ones that I thought were funny, and then they turned into what I had one go 18 million views. It took me 10 seconds to record it in the kitchen, and it's my uncle and some zip ties. Like, it's the stupidest video in the world.
I've seen that one. The funny thing is, I didn't even see that one on your channel. I saw it on a channel that reposted it, and I watched it, and I said, this is so funny. I'm pretty sure I liked it, and then I read the caption on it, and it said it gave credit to your channel, and it was so funny because, I didn't even see it from you, but.
Yeah, it's crazy because people all the time still, like, I'll get probably once a week, somebody will send me a message where they've seen it somewhere else, whether it's on like one of those compilations of the best TikToks of 2021 or whatever it is. Like, it's amazing to me how that one video, we don't even really know. I know it got 18 million on my channel before TikTok actually took the sound down. And it was funny because we had like so many people doing reactions and stuff, and those were almost better than the actual video to us. But we don't actually know how many times it's been watched because they shut it down. It stopped 18 million. I think it happened in like 2 weeks total is how long they let the video stay up. So we don't know how many it's actually reached because of all the reposts and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting when you think about it in full scale.
So cool thing right now, you're here in South Carolina. Your business is in Ohio, but your business is running right now, really, without you being there, giving direction, without you having to be working in the business, right? Yeah. So I see that that's something that you've been working on this year is, stepping back and being able to work on the business and not in the business. And I think that's something that a lot of owners, they want to get to that point of where you're at right now. You can just go, in December, I know you were in Orlando, you were in Utah, you were in Nashville, you're here now, so how did you get to this point?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that a lot of guys struggle with, and I did it too, is micromanaging what they're doing. They think that nobody can do it better than them. And one thing that Hunter continually says, and I think it came from Craig Groeschel, is if they can do it 80% as good as you can, let it go because they're going to end up doing it 110% better than you can.
Thanks, Maxwell, yeah.
Is it Maxwell? So, when we talk about that 80% rule, that's kind of how I base my things. Once I see that somebody gets it and starts to grasp it, I let it go. But as far as like stepping away from the business, it all boils back to people, right? That's probably our most valuable asset in any business, really. If you don't have good people behind you, then none of it really matters. Like I said, I'm really blessed to have my dad and my brother back at home, and they've bought into the vision. Most of my traveling is because we're looking to grow the business, and they see the value in Revolt. I'll be honest with you, when I came home and told them I joined Revolt, they kind of looked at me like I had 3 heads, but now they see how much it's changed me as a person and changed our business. And I'm not saying that everybody has to go join Revolt. I'll be completely honest with most folks. It's not for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I firmly believe that. But the biggest mindset shift was being able to let things go. And I watch all these guys who are struggling with being able to travel or being able to step away from their business for long periods of time. The problem is they're trying to micromanage every aspect of their business. I'm not saying that somebody has to completely run your business. But what I am saying is you have to trust people enough to say, you know what, I think that, they're good enough that I can step away. And really you learn where the struggles are in your business when you're gone for 2 weeks. Because when you're gone for 2 weeks, then you can say, all right, we need to work on these 5 areas. It's probably the most growth happens when I do travel, to be completely honest with you, because then I see where the guys need some more help at.
That's interesting. So I think, if you're a business owner and you're watching this, pay attention to these, take some notes, because I think you're a great example of that, and I think a lot of guys can learn a lot from what you're doing. So
yeah, and the worst part is, man, this only happened since February. Like pre-February, pre-July, I had no sales guys. It was me doing all the selling. We were still doing a lot of production on our own. We were still, micromanaging everything. And in the last 10 months, give or take, and realistically in the last 5 months, that's when our biggest shift happened, because we were setting up a lot of processes from February to June or July, because I was like, I don't want to hire guys and I'm not ready without a process. But these last 5 months have been phenomenal as far as, hiring folks and making sure that we had the right people in the right areas and all that good stuff. And so for anybody that thinks they can't do it, it doesn't take that long to get those people in the trusting positions. The biggest thing is go out and find them, and then really don't be afraid if they're a good, I was just talking about this with Bob the other day. If somebody's a good cultural fit, find a place for them, because they will make you more money than they cost you in the long run. It's worth hiring somebody culturally over somebody that maybe has a better skill, because they may grow into that role better than you think they can.
All right, brother. Let me hit you with some rapid fire questions, all right?
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna hit you with the same ones that I ask everyone. The first one is, what is your biggest failure and how did you rise above?
Yeah, so this isn't probably gonna be a rapid fire answer. And
it's all right. When I started doing these, I said, I'm giving you 30 seconds to answer. And then I realized there's a lot of great content that's gonna come from these. So take your time answering these. What's your biggest failure? How did you rise above?
Yeah, man. My biggest failure in life happened in the fall of 2016. I had a business with my dad and my brother. My brother went off to the Navy, so I was all by my lonesome as far as that goes. I don't blame him, so don't think I'm talking about you, Brandon. And it was pretty much me and my dad and my cousin running it. And poor business management skills led to us into what probably should have been a bankruptcy, as most people would call it. But I'm stubborn. We were $60,000 in debt coming into that year, and we shut the doors down. I mean, we finished out every contract that we had. We paid all of our suppliers, but I was still personally $60,000 in debt. I went back to school. I got my teaching degree, as you know, transitions into the story that we told at the beginning of the podcast 2 years later. But you know, I was able to climb myself out of that debt, out of that depression. I mean, I was talking about, you know, suicide, for lack of a better term, as sexy as it's not, it happens in our business. You know, guys think that there's no other way out. I didn't think there was either. And as far as overcoming that, the biggest thing was I kept looking forward, right? I kept looking at how many lives I can impact. Looking at Dylan in 2020, what's going into 2022 now, versus Dylan in 2016, it's amazing how much growth I've made over that. So I guess how I rose above that is really a lot of it was being stubborn and saying I'm not going to take the easy way out and just give up. I'm not going to just give up on, you know, all this debt that I took from these people, and I just paid them down slowly but surely. And if, you know, now I'm practically debt free here in 2022, which I'm super proud of, and got a thriving business that I'm able to step away from. I guess as far as rising above that, we just kept our eye on the prize and knew that there was better sights ahead, and that the world really needed me here, you know, for whatever God was calling me for.
That's awesome, man. How will you know that you've succeeded in business?
You know, I just got asked this question for another podcast not that long ago, and I don't think that I will ever see success. I think the success happens in the chase to what we think is success. And that's growing our people around us, growing friendships in both business and personal relationships. And then, you know, obviously the bank account reflects success as well, but that's not really what it's all about. It's what we can do with that money to help better our cause, if you will. So I don't think that we'll ever really see true success per se. You know, we have some goals and some targets for the next 5 years. I guess in Ed Milet said it, and it's probably one of my favorite ways to look at things. When I die and I go to heaven and God puts, you know, who I was supposed to be in front of me, because I think that's a really good way of looking at things. I want to see the guy and see that I beat him. And if I can do that or get as close to him as humanly possible, then I'll know that I'm successful. But I don't think that success really, you know, is ever going to happen or be achieved, you know, by any measure. Because once we get there, then we want to set our eye on the next prize.
How do you deal with imposter syndrome?
Whew.
Do you deal with imposter syndrome?
I don't, man. I'm horrible with it. I still question. I question, should I be here right now? I'm not going to lie to you. Imposter syndrome for me is probably one of the hardest things for me as a business owner. I question whether I'm good enough all the time. And you know, there's a lot of guys who are watching this podcast who support me or maybe watch me from afar and think, man, that guy just got all the confidence in the world. I think that any guy that tells you that he doesn't have imposter syndrome is a bold-faced liar. He's not trying hard enough. It's difficult, man. Imposter syndrome is one of those things that it's a constant battle, right? And, you know, you'll never conquer it. It's like, you know, you get on these highs and then it's just an immediate drop. And I guess dealing with it would be to be able to get those a little bit leveled out so that way we're not, you know, continually high and low. But I don't deal with it all that well, man. I think part of that has to go with that trauma that we talked about with my biggest obstacle that I overcame. You know, I still question, you know, can I go back there? It doesn't matter how much money is in the bank account. Like, doesn't matter that all of our suppliers are paid. Can I go back there? Can I fall back into that trap? And, you know, I worry about it, man. I really do.
I had a conversation with our friend Michael Deere. He's a Revolt member out of Jackson, Mississippi, I believe he's out of. And I asked him the question when we were in Utah in May, and he said that he said the way he deals with imposter syndrome is he constantly is reminded of how awesome of a team he has, and that he's just a small part of the team, but that the team is a winning team, especially in business, right?
Yep.
And then that he puts himself into a mindset when he's going to work, he's hyping himself up. All right, we're going to win. And that way when he's there, he's just in that winning mentality always. And that way you take yourself out, you think of everything as a team. It's not about myself, it's about the team. And that way that's how he said he's been able to overcome that imposter syndrome. I just thought that was really a cool way to look at it.
Bro, that is a great way to look at it. And I think that's where we struggle. You know, it goes back to that micromanagement piece, right? We think that it's all on us as a leader, you know, because we're the face of the company. But you're right. When you have a fantastic team around you, it probably does make that a little bit easier to deal with. So that's awesome. I appreciate you for sharing that, man. I haven't heard it put that way.
Yeah. All right. This is the last of the business questions. What book has changed your life?
Whew. You know, I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of books this last year. Actually, at my retreat, my goal was to read 12 books this year. I think I'm at 32. So I'm pretty proud of that. But I would say probably Relentless.
Bro, that's one of mine.
I love Relentless, man.
I got William to read it too. He's back there nodding his head.
Yeah, it's a great book. It really is. You know, there's some other ones. Anything by Jocko. Jocko puts out some really good leadership content. Obviously, the man himself, John Maxwell. I love a lot of his books. But if I did narrow it down to one, if you asked me to say one book, I'd tell everybody to read Relentless. Because if you can become relentless in your business, it's or you know, another great one that a lot of guys probably don't know about is Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. He's actually a really good speaker. He reads his book, which I love it when I can listen to an audiobook and the author reads it because they put a lot of passion into it.
Yeah.
That one's really cool to think about. You know, instead of thinking about what I'm going to do next, think about my next 5 moves. And he puts that into perspective that way and how he grew his mortgage company. That was a really good book as well as far as scaling goes too.
We'll put these in the show notes so if people want to go back and read them. All right, I got a couple more questions that are not business related because if you've gotten through to this point, at this point we just want to get to know the real Dylan here.
Yeah.
All right. So Dylan's not working on business. What's Dylan doing? What do you like to do, man?
You know, I'm cursed and blessed to be passionate about business, and I love continuing to devote myself into that growth in my personal life. If I'm not in business, I'm probably spending time with family. Out on a boat, or just hanging out with my beautiful fiance, and our 2 awesome dogs. I'm a big dog guy, so you know if you got a dog and I come over to your house, I'm probably gonna pay more attention to the dog than I am you. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't mess with people who aren't dog people. So you know, as far as you know that goes, man. What's Dylan doing? He's spending time with people he really cares about. You know, that's why I'm here. Family's not just blood. You know, my friends here in Greenville are truly my family. Or, I gotta give him a shout out. I talk to Bob Hull more than I do anybody else in this entire world. So, I'm probably talking to Bob Hull.
Yeah.
we talk on the phone probably for an hour and a half every day, just bouncing ideas off of each other and all that good stuff.
Okay, I wasn't gonna ask you, I didn't even think about this question earlier, but let me go back because something that I hear all the time, especially when we're trying to get people out to RoofCon, is that people don't, not everyone, but there's a lot of people that don't like to network with other people, with other contractors, because they have this closed off mentality, this like herd mentality. And I could be wrong. I think Bob and you kind of overlap a little bit on some area of where you guys cover a little bit, maybe.
Maybe a hair. I mean, nothing crazy.
But still, I think, you know, a lot of the guys, but I've seen Bob also interact with guys like Aaron Christie, and, you know, they bounce ideas off each other. And so I guess what are your thoughts on that as far as, you know, networking with other contractors and bouncing ideas off of what people either in your area or outside of your area are doing?
Yeah, the most closed-minded thing that somebody can do in business, and it's going to hurt your business more than it's going to help, is thinking that people that are even within your own market can't help you. I'd say it to Bob all the time, and actually, we have quite a few Revolt guys in the Dayton area, right? And they're quite a way south of me. And I'm gonna throw Zavadny out there a little bit, but Daniel called me. He's like, "Hey man, how should I feel about these guys?" And I said, it's as easy as this. You'd rather network with a great contractor that's going to actually take care of people that you're not winning than network with a crappy contractor who you know aren't taking care of people, because that great contractor is probably going to give you more than you give him in the long run. So as far as networking goes and the closed-mindedness, like, it's probably been the biggest growth point for us, is being able to bounce ideas off of other people that maybe go, "Hey man, that's stupid. Like, don't do that." Or, "I've tried that, it doesn't work." Or, "Hey man, think about it this way." And, we think that we're all running a different race, but at the end of the day, like, our goals are pretty much the same, as far as we want to help people out. We want to take the best care of our homeowners as we can. And, the side effect of it is we want to make some money. And being able to bounce those ideas off somebody who is in the same sphere that you are is so freaking valuable. At RoofCon, I felt like a little, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, like cheated almost, because I didn't truly get to enjoy the event, because William's done such a great job and the rest of your team has done such a great job of putting me out there as far as a face goes for the Revolt stuff. Guys were just like, "Hey man, I gotta talk to you about this. Hey man, I gotta talk to you about this." I mean, it was like I couldn't actually enjoy the event because I was networking with all these great people, which I'm not mad about. Like, don't be afraid to come up to me at a conference because I said that, but it's so valuable. Like, I take more away from that even than I did like John Maxwell or Ed Milet or any of those guys. I mean, they're great speakers, don't get me wrong, but it's the people that you interact with that really what counts. We're naturally herd animals. Like, we naturally want to be around one another. So to think that you can be in your own little bubble and be successful, you're stupid. You're an idiot. I'm just going to flat out tell people that. Like, once you step outside of that zone and find people that are in the same realm that you are, they might not be in the same market that you are. Bob's not in the same market that I am. But, once you're able to actually have those conversations with those guys on a daily basis and bounce ideas off each other, your life will change drastically, man. Mine did.
All right, let me ask you my last question. Where's the correlation? I feel like for you, there's been this correlation of the greater that the mullet gets, the greater that the business goes. I mean, I don't know anyone with as strong of a mullet game as you, man.
My brother's
Maybe it's the color too. I mean, the color adds to it.
Yeah, it's a brand, bro. It's a brand. My brother's a close second. His is longer than mine. His is fuller than mine. His is also sloppier than mine. Mine's a little cleaner. So I'm gonna call him out there. But
is that the reason why? I mean, you only got like one thing left right there on your hat. Just it's the mullet taking up all the space.
It's the mullet and this big old noggin that's floating around all these stupid ideas that I drag people into. The correlation of the business and the mullet, and I've said this to a lot of people. So I used to be clean cut, clean shaven, like always super. I always thought that's how sales guys looked, right? I sold more money with a mullet than I ever have in my entire life. Like, I think that the biggest thing with me with the mullet is it's me, right? It's me. I'm a really outgoing guy. The mullet's a really outgoing haircut. I'm super personable. I think that correlation that you're talking about happened because I became comfortable. And when I became comfortable with who I was as a person and said, "You know what, man, this is who I am. I can go out and sell looking like I just crawled out from underneath a bridge because I'm a good salesperson and people believe me." That was the biggest step in the right direction. And then, of course, it also comes back to when we have people in the office interviewing them for positions, and I'm able to show that, hey, I tell them flat out, I'm me. I cuss a lot more than I probably should. Sorry, Mom. But that being said, because I've just kind of stepped into who I'm supposed to be and who God sculpted me to be, that's why the mullet works for the business, man, and why we've had some serious growth, because guys are comfortable. And that comfortability, although we say you're not growing when you're comfortable, I think that your most growth happens when you're comfortable with who you are. And that's where it helped me out.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show,
coming
here to South Carolina, hanging out with us. I hate that the event got canceled, but we'll get you back out here. But guys, thank you for tuning in. If you've stuck around the whole time, we'll see you guys next week on the next episode of the Rise Above Show. Peace out.
Delete all them pictures of Hunter sleeping.
Yeah.
Sick dog.
those videos. It's like 30 minutes straight of video.
just him sleeping.
Hunter sleeping.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you catch the best Hunter clips. You catch all those clips of him screaming in his sleep.
There we go. That's what I was gonna say. Like getting up in Adam Eske's face. That's the one. That's the story. You just.
Dude, I wish we had that.
Yeah.
You could like auto tune it too.